Welcome to Joy Connection, a time where we connect in conversation to connect you with joy. We'll be right back.
It is my strength. I choose joy within a win. I choose joy.
I'm so excited today to be in conversation with a man who is a DJ, an evangelist. In everything that he does, he uses his life to share Jesus. And he's even just started a new church plant. Not in the way that you think church happens, but to help you with your everyday life. Welcome to our conversation, Mr. Reza Ally, or DJ Evangelist. I'm so glad that you're here.
It's a privilege to be here. Thank you so much, Shireen.
So let's just get this conversation started. I know that you do so many things. I mean, we've been friends for a very long time, but we met because of all of the things that you do, whether it has been providing good Christian gospel music for a different occasion, whether it has been being part of working in the Christian bookstore, or whether it's been just Reza is wanting to share Jesus. Let me know about how it is that you find joy in doing all of those things and using your gifts and your talents to spread the gospel.
Wow. It is joy for sure. And the way that I look at things is that, I was once lost. I remember being in a nightclub, fairly going to church at that time, and the Holy Spirit met me in the nightclub on the third floor, and he was speaking to me, and the conviction came that we have a responsibility, the responsibility of sharing God's love. And as I continued to pursue him, I noticed that he was leading me into that direction even more, and revealing the different gifts that he's given me. So that would probably be it in a nutshell of how, I first started getting into ministry and the different formats, such as you mentioned, like the bookstore, and, through the disc jockey. It's not so, to even add to that, I never even thought that I was going to be a disc jockey or anything with music. If I was to look back and think about this in details, I would think that it's my environment that I was in.
Right.
When I was growing up in Guyana. I lived on a street where there was all of the top DJs. They would compete.
Oh, okay.
I would be in my sleep and I would be hearing them compete each other internationally, just a few houses down the road. So I believe God has used my environment to teach me indirectly and to spur me up, and now has convicted me to say, hey, you know what? Don't forget about the people like me.
Right. Oh, well, and I guess the people like you are what? People who love music, but need to still know there's good music out there, because you do gospel dance hall. Is that something that was like, that is the kind of music I'm drawn to, so that's the kind of music I'm going to play and spin, but also the kind of music I'm going to create? How did it end up being gospel dance hall music?
Even before I answered that question, even the singing, I remembered prior to the singing, I remember God calling me. I was sitting in front of a television, 13-inch television, with those knobs, right? And I heard a voice spoke to me, said, I want you to do music. Because before then, I never really grew up doing music, DJing, spinning. I mean, there was an interest in terms of in my environment, but never had that interest in the sense of like, hey, I'm going to do this. But I remembered, even going back a little further, in August 22nd or sometime around there in 2001, I went to Agincourt Pentecostal Church.
Right.
I walked all the way because prior to this whole calling, the only thing that I ever loved and have done at that time was television.
Okay.
And coming over here, I went for sponsorship and every single thing. And what happened is God just plugged it out of my heart. And I began to feel restless. So I walked all the way to Agent Court Pentecostal Church on that day. And here was someone by the name of Andrew Jones sharing a message about Joseph.
Okay.
And the whole concept was that you had to write what you want to be when you grow up. He was speaking to a junior high kids. I was a young adult at that time. He told me to come into the gathering,
Yeah.
and I participated.
Yes.
And God spoke to me that day. God said, I wanted you to be a pilot to fly my people home. Now, with the limited understanding that I had at that time, I said maybe a pastor or something of the sort. But then I don't know the full download of it. But when I went back now home, a few weeks after, I was sitting in front of that television, and then God spoke, I want you to do music.
Okay.
I want you to DJ, record the music, and send it to Guyana, Trinidad, Jamaica, and the rest of the world. So in our culture, when you travel on the buses, the public buses like the TTC here in Toronto, you hear music.
Right.
So this is this is a vehicle now where I'm sharing the gospel on
Public transit.
Yeah, on the public
Right.
transit.
Yeah.
And one thing leads to the next. A couple weeks later on, or a couple months probably, somebody invited me to a conference. And it was prophesied that night that you're gonna sing, and I was like, "Wow, this got to be a fraud," because I've never really
Sung. I like music, but I don't sing.
Yeah. So I waited for that person outside of the of the gathering of the concert or the gathering that they had, the conference, and are you sure that it's me that I need to sing? Now, when that person was actually releasing that message, I felt the power of God.
Yeah.
But again, this was not my forte at all. So I asked him, he said, "Son, go home and open up your mouth and sing." Now, 1 year passed. I started to DJ for a lot of artists in Toronto.
Yeah.
They go to schools, we do different programs and so on. And they would leave me with their song tracks. And with those song tracks, a desire of writing music just started.
So you started to sing over that.
Yeah.
And then now you're writing your own. And again, it's gospel dance hall. So again, it may not be a genre that is for you, but it's a genre that God chose for Reza.
Yeah.
And he obeyed and he followed and he grew in it. And he's won awards. Like, tell us about some of the awards that you've won and some of the places that you've traveled that this genre has opened up doors for you to go into.
Well, I think there's many different avenues that God has been using, whether dancehall gospel we call it, or Caribbean gospel. It is a music that is just like hip hop, but in the Caribbean. This is what everyone listens to. They listen to, like even my name, DJ Evangelist, it have a two-phase where DJ is a rapper.
Yeah.
So it's just like the rappers in the US or here,
Yeah.
right? So we're the Caribbean Drake, if you want to put it that way.
Just Christian and safer.
Yeah, and sanctified. So the impact started online. I think one of the things that I hold on to is that before social media like today, we had Yahoo chats and Messenger and so on.
Yes.
So a lot of the DJs would, after their events, in the middle of the night, they would gather in these rooms and we would compete and each other. And here is the only person in the room playing gospel music.
Right.
So people, as we compete, people started to ask questions about God. And people started to get saved, even before social media became a thing.
Wow, that's amazing to me. I didn't even know about that. So that is pretty cool how it is that God finds himself in any room to do whatever it is that he needs to do through his obedient children. And speaking of obedience, God has shifted you in many areas. Like I said, you love to just use your life in whatever talents and gifts God has given you to make sure the gospel is being shared. And right now, God is doing something new in your heart and in your life. You've started a gospel church plant called the Simple Life Church, but it's not what people think it is. Tell us about what God is doing through your vision with that.
Well, this is a very exciting time, and I believe things are, just becoming more simpler, right? So here I am in church. I always, with that calling of like, when are we going out?
Right.
And I hear it, mostly every Sunday.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that we don't make that an effort as much as God is calling us to do.
Yes.
Right? So Simple Life Church is basically not taking people out of their calling.
Right.
It's whatever gifts you have, God can use you. God has given everyone a gift.
Yes.
And whatever gifts they have, God can use them. So whether it's knitting, whether it's walking, whether it's running, it don't have to be some complicated gift. Like it don't have to be singing.
Yeah.
Right? It don't have to be the gifts that I have. We sit with you. We walk you through, the fundamentals of Christianity.
Yes.
Obviously, you have to be called to be a leader.
Yeah.
And we empower you and release you to whichever part of Toronto or the world. And at the same time, for people who are not Christians, this is an opportunity that we're meeting them wherever
Where
they are. So whatever their hobbies are, we have games night. Just past a week ago, we had an urban gospel party at a restaurant.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You celebrated somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you were able to play some dance hall gospel. But it was in this place where you're just like, we're just going to be Christians and we're going to use our gifts and we're going to fellowship and we're going to eat and drink and enjoy. I know that I've been to, you had a games night where you just invited people over during the Christmas. But not only did we play games, you were fundraising to give toys to the underprivileged children and families. And so we collected all of that. I know that your wife is in ministry with you as well. And I'm sure I've heard of her leading a baking type Bible study or a bake night, right? So again, Reza is talking about the simple life. What is your gift? And your gift of helping people find theirs, you've used games night, you've used baking, you've used I want to go and surf downtown. I'm thinking that things just as simple as hospitality, because that's what your games night is. Hospitality, okay? Are you interested in being hospitable? How can we use that to be church? What are the things that give you the most joy about being able to show people that Christianity and simple living and simple sharing is not just about sitting in church and doesn't need to be complicated, but what do you have in your hands? Like, what has been the most joy of watching your Simple Life Church make a difference?
I think, just to put that in a nutshell, I think it's just having that heart that, first of all, that God is a visionary God. And He sees all things and He sees the potential in us because He wants to do the work in us. And way before time, He has called us. And it's for us to actually draw close to Him. Yeah. So the thing that gives me joy, like many other people, pastors and evangelists and whatever names we have in ministry, is to see people grow. Is to see people in their potential. And that goes across the board. Even some of these events that we're doing, I'm thinking here, sitting in this interview, remembering that I've done some of these at the bookstore.
Yes.
And so God just elevates, He gives you a little bit, and then, you do your best, and then He promotes you and to trust you with more.
Well, God was planting seeds.
Yes.
And He was refining and He was building. And these were, I just want to do this. And I just want to do this. And now God is like connecting the dots or connecting the dashes or connecting whatever it was He's been doing in you and through you. But I have to ask you, Reza, I mean, everything that you've done and everything that you're doing doesn't come easy. I mean, you are a visionary and you think big and you think small at the same time. It's like, let's just do the little things and God will do the big things. But I want this to grow and I want people to hold on and I want people to catch. And you've been doing this for a long time. How do you hold on to your joy when it seems like there hasn't been movement? When it seems like the big dream and vision that you have is taking a while to get there, or people are overcomplicating and you're just like, why aren't you joining me in this simple, just share Jesus? You know, how do you hold on to your joy when it seems like things are taking time and it's not as easy as it looks?
That's a good question. I think I hold on and let God do the work. I have this idea in my head that, you know, it's not on my time. It's not on a certain format of stats, even though that is needed in certain things.
Yes.
I believe that God is the designer.
Yes.
And He is the one who's putting all things together. Right? So it's He that gives me the patience. Many times, you know, it does get frustrating as a human. But I think in the big picture, I hold on with a lot of joy in my mind and through this life, because God is the designer and it's His work, and He knows when to water, when to plant, and when to reap.
Wow. Yes. And God does know all these things. And I guess we have to stay in Him in order to stay in joy when He takes His time.
That's right.
What are you looking forward to most in ministry? What's the next for you?
Wow. For me, it's always multifaceted in the aspect of, you know, the way that God builds with my life and with my family's life. Sometimes it looks crazy. We're building here, doing something. You know, it's like a house. Everybody, you know, people put down blocks and, you know, put the drywalls up and so on. But sometimes we're building 5 houses at the same time and they look all crazy. And I do that in my garden a lot. I think I have that personality whereby I don't know everything. And this is where I trust in God. And I remove certain plants in certain areas and then I see it blossom. So where God is taking us, I think, is out into places, and He's always called me from the music to everything that I'm doing. I know it's God because it's not something that I personally would want to do.
Okay.
Right? So that's what I believe, that's my little secret. So there's the long-term vision is to go to Brazil.
Oh.
Right. Simple Life actually was called to be in Brazil. And that was an amazing thing that is happening right now, because when God said, hey, you know what, I want you to go to Brazil and open up a church called Simple Life in a certain city. And I want you to do an English church, you know.
So we're going to wait.
Right.
We're going to wait to see how it is that God takes you to Brazil
Yeah.
and has you do something you don't want to do, that your heart still says, yes, Lord, to.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, Reza? Like if they want to partner with you, if they want to connect with you, to even just talk about your dreams and visions, where can they find you?
It's simple.
And it is?
simplelifechurch.ca. Or you can just hashtag me DJ Evangelist. All right. And you can find me online, djevangelist.com, simplelifechurch.ca, or just look me up, Reza Ally. I should be the one to find.
And I hope that you will go and look for him, because he is worth talking to and dreaming with, and continue dreaming, because it has brought Reza a lot of joy, and I'm sure it'll bring you a lot of joy. Thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure.